to respond. Bridges, once again over to Elijah. He shakes off a few tackles. The Rebels, they surround him. He shakes off a few more. He takes it deep into Bulldog territory. Nick Moore is able to push him out. Now the Bulldogs will get nothing out of that possession. Legacy looking to capitalize. Reyes over to Aiden Serrano, who's able to get a first down to get the Rebel offense going. Now later in the drive, reliable Nick Moore, who plays defense, contributes with a catch of his own. Don't forget, he's also a receiver. Now deep in the red zone, Ian Larson, he takes it himself and makes it for the touchdown as Rebels lead 14-7. Now Midland High, they'll look to answer Jensen. Strowman Bridges, he keeps it himself, but Trey Jefferson tugs on Strowman and he twists and he loses the ball. Dayton Minahan recovers it. Legacy regains possession. Let's check out the final score. Midland is maroon as they got the win tonight, 28-7, and now they are 3-1 in district. Midland High falls to 2-2.
Yeah, that's a crucial win there for Legacy after obviously the tough start to the year in non-district, but yeah, now 3-1 in district. They are well on their way to that playoff spot.
That is completely true. Now with a win tonight for either one of these teams and with a possible loss to Friendship, that would mean that either Midland High or Legacy has a greater chance of taking at least a share of the district championship. Now Friendship had a very big game going up against Permian. Permian trying to get a win after losing to Legacy last week. They're hoping to get a share of the district championship as well too. I'm saying district championship too much, but you were at that game, Jensen. How was it?
Yes, it was definitely a very good game, and it could have big implications, like you said, for winning the division. Permian, just one loss going into the game. Friendship undefeated. They would start with the ball. Here's Holden Phillips with the snap. He will throw for the end zone, and it is caught. Leighton Stone comes down with the ball through some very tough defense from Permian. Now the Tigers would go for the onside kick, and they recover it. Jumping over the traffic to grab it is Chase Campbell in the very following play. Phillips to Campbell, and he will throw and find Leighton Stone around the 15, catching it on the run, finding the end zone again. Friendship up 14-0. Get this, before the bands are even in the stands.
Oh my gosh.
Permian ball right on the goal line. Gavin Black gets the give. He makes it in, pulled back out, but touchdown Panthers. Next drive for Permian. Gavin Black again. Here he's breaking 2 tackles and ducking under another one. Open grass in front of him. No one will catch up. Touchdown for the Panthers. They would miss the extra point, so it's 14-13. And the Permian faithful have been cheering all year long. Second quarter, up 8, Friendship. Holden Phillips throws over the middle, and it's Leighton Stone, his 3rd receiving touchdown of the first half. Permian would force a turnover before the halftime break to stop the momentum, but Friendship was rolling all night long. Looking at the final score, it's a big win for Friendship, 44-27. Friendship is actually undefeated in district. They are 4-0. Permian now 2-2, 2 straight losses for the Panthers.
I mean, Jensen, this is it's a very weird couple weeks for Mojo, especially with how hot they began the year, as a matter of fact. So what are your thoughts so far before we go into our final 6A game?
I mean, they look promising, but I think just that very fast start from Friendship, scoring on the opening drive, getting the onside kick recovered, and then the very next play, I'm not lying, the very, very next play was that give to Chase Campbell, and then he would throw to Leighton Stone. So, I mean, Leighton Stone's catching touchdowns from everyone at this point. So I think that really quick start just took out some momentum maybe for Permian. It was hard to come back at that because they lost by, 17 points. So only 3 points difference after that 14-0 start.
That's right. We'll talk a little bit more about our 6As after this score right now. The latest update that we have about San Angelo going up against Odessa High is that Odessa, they led 7-0 in the first quarter. That game is in a weather delay, unfortunately, so we don't have much about, we don't know when that game is going to start up again. I got off the phone with Miss Dawson. Shout out to Miss, I got off the phone with Miss Dawson. She told me that that game is, of course,
yeah,
with
still a
lightning.
delay. Yeah, it's we have to be careful with lightning, especially for high school football. But yeah, 7-0 right now. Both teams 0-3 in district going into the game, so this is a crucial one if they don't want to be mathematically out of it. Whoever wins this is not mathematically out of it. Whoever loses is out of the playoffs. Taking a look at the full standings, again, this is incomplete, waiting on the Odessa Central game, but the top 4 is correct. Friendship at 4-0, 8-1 overall. Incredible year for the Tigers. Legacy 3-1, and then Midland and Permian finish out what would be the playoffs right now if it ended today at 2-2 apiece. Of course, Odessa and Central 0-3.
Now, Jensen, let's dive a little bit more into our 6A teams. Just when it comes to Permian, I mean, you said that they were not able to get back that momentum, but they were trailing 14-13. You did say that, right?
They did. So they did come back really, but right after that, Friendship scored another 14 straight. So I think it was just tough to get that momentum and keep that momentum away from Friendship because Friendship was just so on it tonight. Passing, running, I mean, especially passing. They have an incredible passing offense with Holden Phillips, and then at wide receiver, 2 incredible guys in Chase Campbell and also Leighton Stone, as I said. So, yeah, it was tough to really break the momentum really of Friendship. Not that Permian couldn't get it, but take it fully away. It's tough.
Now, Leighton Stone is actually a Texas Tech commit.
Yes.
He graduates this upcoming year. Chase Campbell, his partner in crime, is his offers from Colorado State and just a whole bunch of schools from across Texas. So these are 2 4-stars that Permian was going up against that play receiver for Friendship.
Yes.
Now, of course, you're at your game, also about my game, about Midland High going up against Midland Legacy. Midland Legacy, they were able to force fumbles. They forced 2, as a matter of fact, and they were able to stop the run. And just like how they did against Permian, they were able to stop the run. So I think that what Permian was able to do is what prepared them very, very well for Midland High tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because obviously Gavin Black is an incredible running back. So is Elijah McCoy. He broke records last week against Central. But maybe that was the case. Maybe they did get a sneak peek of an incredible running game, and they were just ready for it. And Permian can pass the ball a little bit more than Midland does. Still not a pass-first offense by any stretch of the imagination for Permian, but more passing than Midland.
Yes, that is 1,000% true. Now, there's one thing that I also need to say. I've had people come up to me out there, and they tell me Legacy had fallen off. And especially with that non-district schedule. And one thing that I said is that it is going to prepare them very, very well for when they play in district. Now, they fell to
And that's what Clinton Hartman was telling us, all non-district schedule. We were asking him about that. Are you concerned? And he said, not at all. We're getting ready for district.
Yes. Now, you go into district, you take down San Angelo Central, you fall to Friendship by 3 points.
Yes.
And then you go up against Permian, who is undefeated this year. And of course,
up until that point,
Up until that point, and don't forget, you're going into that game at Ratliff Stadium with a sophomore quarterback who's been starting for just a few weeks.
Yes. It's an incredible turnaround of this season from what people were thinking maybe was the case with the non-district schedule. What a turnaround. And great job by JP Reyes to be able to lead that offense on such short notice.
Exactly. And then you go up against Midland High in the Tall City Showdown. And Midland Legacy, they go into the showdown and they showed out. You have to give a lot of credit to Clint Hartman for what he was able to do. You have to give a lot of credit to Aiden Serrano for the way of how he shifted the offense as well, along with JP Reyes for stepping in there. And I also have to give credit to Jaden Rogers for teaching JP and pulling him up and showing him the way of how to get things right.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Rogers is a good guy to have as a mentor if you're JP Reyes.
Yes. Definitely. So one thing that I have to say, Jensen, I don't mean to cut you off, the Legacy Rebels, a lot of people ask where they, where is Legacy? When are they going to show up? And I'll say this, they are here.
Yes, and second in the division, ready to get to the playoffs. 100%. All right, we have some more games to get to, though. We had Fort Stockton at Monahans, a pretty big game there for 4A. Armando Gomez has the highlights. Armando.
An important game for both teams as they're on the hunt for the playoffs. A defensive battle beginning of this game, but both offenses were able to find ways to score. Check out the highlights from the first half. Fort Stockton visiting Monahans tonight in the crucial district game. State Representative Brooks Landgraf did the honorary coin toss in today's game. Late in the first quarter, Fort Stockton Jerry Diaz takes a snap and he rolls to his right and he sees a wide receiver wide open, Fabian Silva, as he escapes from the defense and he scores a 45-yard touchdown to take a 7-0 lead. In the second quarter, Dylan Pittman hands it off to Cole Pittman and he walks in for an easy touchdown to tie the game 7-7. Monahans were not done yet. Cole Pittman takes a handoff and he pushes his way into the end zone with the help from his teammates to take the lead 14-7. Dylan Pittman steps back and he sets his feet with pressure in his face and he airs it out, but it is intercepted by Fort Stockton Gamma Corral to bring life to the Panthers. After a turnover on downs, Monahans were back in the red zone. Pittman hands it off to D'Anthony Malachi Barnes and he finds his way into the end zone. The halftime score, Monahans 21 and Fort Stockton 7.
And it would end as a win for the Lobos of Monahans, 28-9. Fort Stockton not even managing double digits. They will be off next week. That was their final game of the regular season for the Panthers.
That is right, Jensen. I mean, very weird turnaround for Fort Stockton, especially with how they started off this year. You and I, Friday after Friday, just saying this team is really, really high, and it seems like it is getting really, really cold out there.
Yes, and now down to 1-3 in district. So it's going to need a lot. They're going to need a lot of stuff to go their way if they want to make the playoffs. Only 1 win out of 4 in district play.
That's right. Now there was some more games going on tonight. Denver City got the win over the Kermit Yellow Jackets, 57-38. Kermit, they are now 0-2 in district play.
Yeah, it's been a tough road for Kermit since the start of the season. They had a lot of their home games early on, and it's kind of been away for a lot of this year. Obviously, this game was at home, but not a win for them. Tough stretch for the Kermit Yellow Jackets.
Yes, I probably should have been a Yellow Jacket for Halloween, but there was actually some Halloween football last night as a matter of fact, Jensen. That's right. Andrews, they're on the road going up against the Pecos Eagles.
Tell me.
That is right. Now we're going to start out with Andrews' Jay-Sean Bose. He gets the handoff and he eludes the defense, taking this deep into Mustangs territory before he gets brought down. Now, Jensen, that's completely fine because a few plays later, Leroy Milan, he puts the Mustangs up 6-0 with a touchdown, and right after, they went for 2 points.
Let's see.
Jay-Sean DeBose with the 3 clap. He gets the snap and goes to his right. He's left untouched as he crosses the goal line. Now keep the camera on him. Next possession, Cade Adams finds him deep. He's left untouched once again as he makes it to the end zone for the touchdown. Andrews was rolling. We'll check out the final score. They got the win 41-21. And they will be going up against Lakeview next week. Pecos, they will be at Big Spring.
I want to point out, look at that. Andrews, 2-0 in district, 2 straight wins after not winning since week 1. So I believe that would be what, 6 losses in a row. Now 2-0 since then. Big turnaround for Andrews. And then Pecos, now 1-1 in district. They'll be at Big Spring next week. Speaking of Big Spring, they had a game against the Lakeview Chiefs and a win against the Lakeview Chiefs. 28-21, Big Spring's first win in district.
Big Spring going up against Andrews, Jensen, that should be a very, very good matchup.
I'm intrigued by it.
I'm intrigued by that one too. That's right. Now, one matchup that was pretty intriguing was Midland Christian going up against Grapevine. We're going to see how Midland Christian, we were wondering how Midland Christian was going to do tonight. They got the win 49-28. They'll be hosting Trinity Christian next week. Midland Christian is now 3-1 in district. Don't sleep on the Mustangs because they will sting you.
Yes. And
dad jokes.
That was a horrible dad joke.
That's a dad
but
joke.
By that, I mean a great dad joke. So thank you very, very much for allowing me to see that, or allowing me to hear that, really. Thank you so much for the dad jokes. I always appreciate them.
I had to try.
I always appreciate that. Yes. All right. I think it's time that we check on that dad joke note. Let's check on our first Alert 7 Band of the Week.
Here's tonight's Band of the Week, brought to you by America's Wholesale Furniture.
All right, so we had Midland High and Midland Legacy. That was your game, but great game there. Face off for Band of the Week. Let's look at the results. And, well, Legacy won on the field in the band room, or maybe the stand, I guess, in that case. Midland, they got the win, 6,114 votes to Legacy's 5,042. Over 11,000 total votes, 11,156. Let's hear from that Bulldog band. Always love hearing from the bands, you know? It's always a good time. I was a band kid myself, actually.
You were in a band?
I was. Well, only freshman year. I didn't love it as much. Well, but really, I didn't love the class for band. I wanted to be on the marching band. I was going to be on drumline, but I didn't like the band class a whole lot. So ended after freshman year. But I do have a special appreciation for the marching bands.
I was actually in the band too, in the band back when I was in like elementary, middle school.
There you go.
Now, what position? What position did you play?
Hey, we're ready for football.
What instrument did you play, Jetson?
Well, I was percussion, and then in marching band, I was in pit, so I was the front ensemble. I was going crazy on the xylophones and the vibraphones. So much fun. So shout out to the bands. All right, we have some more.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, sorry. What were you playing?
Thank you.
I didn't even ask. Oh my goodness. How rude of me.
I was a trumpet player.
Oh, okay. Not bad. I like trumpets.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Now let's get to some more games. We had a great game up against just one loss between these two teams going into the night. The Seminole Indians and the Greenwood Rangers. Sierra Burnett has that one. Sierra.
Friday night football featuring Greenwood and Seminoles. Quarterback Madrid Lincoln is on the run and finds Rowlett Cave for a first down. On the next play, he takes it for himself and finds the end zone to score the first touchdown of the night. Lincoln has the ball once again, and he throws an interception to Austin Olivis of the Seminoles. Seminoles have the ball, and Wyatt Holmstrom finds Logan McCormick for their first touchdown of the night. Seminoles have the ball back, and Wyatt Holmstrom finds his target Logan McCormick for another first down. Holmstrom throws a quick pass to guess who? Logan McCormick, and he finds the end zone for his second touchdown of the night. Seminoles still have the ball, and Holmstrom finds his running back Gavin Nelson for a first down.
All right, big win there for Greenwood. Now 3-0 in district. Both teams are 8-1 overall in the season. It's a 28-24 win for Greenwood. By the way, I want to just point out, Jair is still laughing at his, I believe, his dad joke from earlier. Maybe
I'm laughing from a lot of jokes.
Yeah. Well, what's not a joke is the Greenwood Rangers.
Yep, that is 100. Oh, there you go, Jensen.
And yeah, the Greenwood will be up against Snyder next week, who is still looking for their first district win, 0-3 for the Snyder Tigers.
Yes. Okay, then, guys. Let me get back to my normal self.
Yes.
Really though, the Greenwood Rangers, for them to take down Seminole in this game.
Yes.
That is a very, very convincing win for the Greenwood Rangers.
That's important because that's Seminole's first loss of the year. 8-0 going into the game.
For real. Like, this is a huge win for Greenwood. Celebrate all night long. I mean, what more can you just say about the Greenwood Rangers? Plus, you checked in with them a couple of times throughout the year, Jensen. Like, at this point right now, like, what did you see, back then when you were talking with them, talking to their players, talking to Coach Hill, that sort of, put your ears up, especially with what they could be able to do this year?
The big thing that really pointed out to me as I reached format here, excuse me, the big thing that stuck out to me was just the belief in this team, because they were very young last year, only 3 wins in the entire year last year, now 8, and still one more game to go in the regular season. And, well, I mean, Snyder is 0-3 in district and only a couple wins on the year, so I don't want to predict too much, but let's say that Greenwood wins that one. That would be 9-1 on the year. That's tripling the win total from last season, and it's really just because the core of the group stayed together. They were very young last year, now much more experienced with a full season behind them, and now almost 2 full seasons behind them, and a very successful second one.
Plus, Brian Hill is in his second year, so I'm sure that, a lot of the chemistry grew from the offseason heading into this year. Now, one team that looked like they had a lot of chemistry was the Coahoma Bulldogs. They got the win over the Stanton Buffaloes, 57-40. Coahoma, they're now 1-2 in district. Stanton, this is their first district loss this year.
Yeah, tough sledding really for Coahoma. First win in district, and they started off the year very, very hot up in Big Spring. That was a big win to start the year against Forsan. Yep. But really tough sledding, like I said, from then. But good to see them getting back in the win column, seeing a 1 in the district. All right, let's get to some more games. This one just went final a little bit ago. The Compass Cougars down in Anthony, getting a big win there. 30 points is the margin, 43-13. Compass is now 3-2 in district. They'll be up against Alpine next week. Pretty good game there.
Yes, plus Bo Smith. Bo knows. That's my new phrase from
Bo knows.
Bo knows.
All right.
Bo knows football.
He sure does.
Yeah. Bo, I'm not even thinking about Bo Jackson. I'm thinking about Bo Smith. Him coming over from Midland Legacy, he's completely changing a culture, as a matter of fact, helping Odessa Compass. I mean, Anthony, they're not the greatest, they're not the sharpest tool out there when it comes to, or Playing-wise.
We've discussed a couple of Anthony losses so far this year. Yeah, big win there for Compass. And yeah, like I said, up against Alpine next weekend. Speaking of Alpine, well, not a win tonight for the Bucks down in Alpine. Crane getting the win there, 29-16. Crane is now 3-2 in district, so 3 straight wins for them. After starting 0-2 in district, normally we kind of discuss a turnaround following non-district into district. This is a turnaround within district. 0-2 to start, now 3-0 since then. Alpine, though, this is their first district loss. They have only 4 wins on the year, and all 4 of those came in district.
That is right. This is also the round robin, Jensen, where these teams play each other twice. Crane, I'm sure, looked over at Alpine and said, yeah, you know what? We have an idea of what you're going to come out and hit us with. And Crane said, but we're also going to come out and hit you with 29 points. Right there.
Yeah, and that really, like you said, with the round robin, maybe stemmed from seeing a lot of Alpine wins because they were 4-0 in district going into the game, like I said. So Crane had a lot of looks at what, Alpine does really well. So maybe gave him a little bit of an edge. Crane will be up against Anthony next week, who they just lost to Compass.
Yes, that's right. Now, we also had some more games. Forsan going up against Ozona. Forsan had a tough start to the year, and they fell to Ozona tonight, 50-28. They're now 2-2 in district, and they'll be going up against a Reagan County team that is very, very tough and very, very hot.
Yes, they are indeed very hot after tonight. Over 50-point win for the Owls out of Reagan County. You can look at the final score. It was actually 62-6, excuse us there. So now Reagan County 4-0 in district. Huge year for the Owls.
Yes, very nice year for the Owls. Like we've discussed before, Kason Brown, their quarterback, also playing defense as well, is getting some Division I offers. So he's really putting in that work, Jensen.
Yeah, I mean, when you are 8-1 at this point in the season, I think everyone's putting in that work. All right, let's get to our first Alert 7 Player of the Week, shall we? Of course.
The Player of the Week is brought to you by Ranger Clinic.
All right, you might recognize this one. Our Player of the Week is Midland running back Elijah McCoy. That's because it's back-to-back weeks. In last week's win over the Central Bobcats, Elijah made it into the record books. He gained 360 yards and scored 7 rushing touchdowns. He now holds the record for, and I'm going to say a few of these, so stick with me, rushing yards, all-purpose points, all-purpose touchdowns, and rushing touchdowns in one singular game.
Means a lot because that was what I wanted to do. That was one of my goals, is to be in the record books, to set my name in Midland High history, because I love Midland High and I want my name to be here forever.
Yeah, huge for Elijah. Midland also, by the way, has a new, as a team, season record for rushing yards. They beat the previous record set in just 2022. So the running has been working recently for the Midland Bulldogs.
That's right, and I'm sure Clint Harbin definitely took a look at what Elijah did last week and used it in his game plan and his defense this week.
Yes. All right, let's get to some more scores. The Wink Wildcats ranked in the state, and for good reason. 55-0 tonight over El Dorado. Wink still undefeated in district. They will be up against Van Horn next week.
I don't know. Am I supposed to act shocked by that score, Jay?
I don't think so.
Okay, then.
We've seen very impressive things from Wink and more points scored than 55, but obviously 55-0 that's a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game. Now, let me ask this question. Am I supposed to be shocked about Van Horn and Iran getting the win tonight, 61-0, 8-1 on the season, 3-1 in district? I don't know. I don't think I should be shocked about this one either. And I've said for a long time that they probably should be ranked in the state, but not a lot of people really listen to me.
We're still waiting on that. I think that it must just be that one loss in district recently that is bringing them down. But I mean, if you've looked at the offense and now look at the defense, you'll see a 0 next to Van Horn. This Ira and Braves team is special.
Now, hold on. You said this one loss. They lost to the Wink Wildcats.
Yes.
So, I mean, like...
Well, yeah, so to that point, your one loss is to a team that is ranked in the state.
Exactly.
So it's how big really is that loss? I don't know. I mean, again, we've been saying it week after week, all season long. Ira and we both think that they should be ranked. Wink obviously deserving to be ranked after that one, but, I mean, 61-0? Take a look, guys.
Yep. Can't be shocked.
Definitely not. All right, Iran is going to be at Sterling City next week. And speaking of Sterling City, they're going to be going into that game following a win against McCamey. 20-14 was the win there. McCamey drops to 1-3 in district now. They have one win in their last 6 games. Not a good stretch for the McCamey Badgers.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't been the greatest stretch or the greatest past season and 3/4 of the season at this point right now. Ever since Matthew Rose has graduated and went over to UTPB, Jensen, it's been tough sledding for McCamey. Just going all into it. That's all I can say.
Hopefully they can rebound a little bit next week. They'll be up against El Dorado, who, I mean, they just had a horrible loss to the Wink Wildcats, which was 55-0 there. So maybe McCamey can go in with a little bit of motivation following or noticing that Wink loss for El Dorado. Could be a big one for them.
Maybe take it personal. In the words of Michael Jordan.
There you go. Got to take it personal.
Yes. Now, we also had some 6-man games. Of course. Garden City, they got the win tonight over Marfa, 66-38. Rankin got the best of Grady, 53-8. Over
That's a surprising one. We haven't seen a whole lot of poor play from the Grady Wildcats this year, and only managing 8 points.
Exactly.
Very surprising. Incredible work from Rankin. Of course, we are still hoping for the best in recovery for the player that went down a few weeks back. I'm hoping to get an update soon from Coach. I will hopefully be able to tell you tomorrow what we know about that Rankin kid. But yes, getting a big win up against Grady. Garden City, that's their first district win. Marfa is still looking for a district win though.
Yes, Marfa is still looking for a district win. Pretty tough road for them so far this year.
By the way, the one team in the district that is missing from this graphic is the Buena Vista Longhorns. That's because they were off this week, their second off week of the year. Only 9 games on their schedule, interesting there. But Buena Vista, they are now the only team in all of our districts, I believe, that is undefeated. They are 8-0, 3-0 in district. They really are the pace setters in that district, I'd say.
That is true.
All right, our final game to get to, the Grand Falls Cowboys getting a big win, 66-21 over the Eagles out of Sanderson. Grand Falls still undefeated in district. They'll be up against Sierra Blanca next week. Sanderson, good, very impressive start to the year. They were undefeated for a little bit, now 1-2 in district. They'll have a tough matchup up against Balmorhea, who I believe also had the week off this week.
Balmorhea always tough, but speaking of Grand Falls, though, Grand Falls, they're having a pretty nice year, Jensen.
They definitely are. And of course, looking at that district record, which is the crucial bits, as we've discussed a couple of times throughout this evening, the district is what matters, and 3-0 is where you want to be going into the final week next week. It's crazy to think that we are on the cusp of our final Friday Night Blitz of the regular season. Of course, we have playoffs to get to, and I mean, we have a lot of very impressive teams that are going to be making the playoffs, but next week is the final week of the regular season already.
Right. Next week is the last week of the regular season, but it is not the last week of the Friday Night Blitz. We will have a playoff blitz the following week. But Jensen, what are your closing thoughts of tonight?
I'd say that there were some very surprising score lines. Like we talked about, the Grady one was a very surprising one, and I'm a little bit surprised as to the margin of victory for the Legacy Rebels over the Midland Bulldogs. I thought it would be a little bit closer than that. I thought it could have been a toss-up, really, especially after last week from Elijah McCoy. 360 yards, setting the record for that. Congratulations again, Elijah. Incredible work there. UTEP has got a good one in Elijah McCoy. But yeah, really the big things was a few surprising ones there, but we've really just seen the teams that have been good all year be very good again, namely the Wink Wildcats, the Iran Braves, the Friendship Tigers. All of them have been incredible all year. The Greenwood Rangers got a win over Seminole, giving Seminole their first loss of the year, 8-0 for Greenwood. Massive turnaround from last year. And so those are my big takeaways. What about you?
My takeaway is that Midland Legacy, that non-district really prepared them.
Yeah.
And they are proving it week after week here in district.
Yeah.
Midland High, I don't want to say the word disappointed, but I want to say that I am
surprised, maybe?
I don't know. It's between surprised.
Somewhere in the middle.
It's just somewhere in the middle of just like how this has been going for them. And one thing that Clint Hartman did say before we go is that he knew how to key on Strowman and Elijah and improve tonight.
Definitely did
Midland
so
High's
tonight.
loss to the Legacy Rebels. But all I can say is thank you so much for joining us here on the Friday Night Blitz here for First Alert 7. We'll be back next week with a lot of more things to talk about.
Yeah, the final week of the regular season. Thanks for joining us.